Have you ever stopped to think about how God sees you, especially if you're an Aries? We know how others see us, perhaps as bold, dynamic, or full of energy. But what if there's more to it? What if there's a deeper divine perspective of Aries that we don't often consider? Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, is ruled by Mars, and naturally, they're known for their fiery personality, strong will, and relentless energy. But how would God, the creator of all things, see such a powerful and often misunderstood sign? God sees Aries not just for their fiery spirit or their drive to succeed, but for the deeper qualities that make them who they are. He sees their hearts, full of courage and determination, constantly pushing forward no matter what obstacles stand in their way. It's not about being reckless or impulsive. It's about a deep-seated faith in their own abilities and the belief that they are meant to lead and conquer. And when you look at Aries through this lens, through the eyes of someone who sees the entire universe and the potential in everyone, it changes everything. So why should we consider this divine perspective? Well, it helps us understand Aries more fully and perhaps more compassionately. Instead of simply seeing them as stubborn or fiery, we begin to appreciate their purpose, their calling, and their divine strength. In this video, we'll explore 12 ways God sees Aries that you may not have considered before. You might just see yourself or someone you know in a new light, realizing that the traits that seem so bold and unyielding are actually part of a greater divine plan. And with that, let's dive into the first 2 ways God sees Aries. The first way might surprise you. Number 1, God sees Aries as a bold leader. Aries is often associated with leadership. From an early age, those born under this sign are seen stepping forward, taking charge, and naturally guiding others in times of uncertainty. But how does God view Aries as a leader? It's not just about the forceful presence or the ability to make decisions quickly. It's about their deep-seated courage and their divine calling to lead with faith and conviction. In the Bible, we are reminded of the qualities of a true leader. One passage that reflects the essence of an Aries leader is from the book of Joshua. In Joshua 1:9, God says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." This powerful verse speaks directly to the heart of Aries' leadership style. Just as Joshua was called to lead the Israelites into the promised land, Aries is called to take bold steps, even in the face of uncertainty. Their innate courage, combined with their unwavering faith in their abilities, mirrors the confidence and strength that God instills in all true leaders. Aries leads not out of arrogance, but out of an understanding that they are meant to guide others toward a greater purpose. They might make mistakes, they might stumble along the way, but their leadership comes from a place of authenticity and the ability to inspire others with their actions. The God-given strength in Aries is the foundation of their leadership. It's a spiritual force that moves them to act, sometimes before others are ready, but always with the belief that they are doing God's work. Their leadership is often misunderstood as impulsiveness or rashness, but God sees it differently. He sees a heart that is willing to step into the unknown, trusting that He will guide them. Just as Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt, Aries is called to step forward, sometimes without a clear path ahead, but trusting that God is paving the way. They possess the rare ability to inspire and motivate others to act, to move beyond their fears, and to take steps of faith. For Aries, leadership isn't about control. It's about paving a path for others to follow. God sees Aries as the type of leader who, like King David, has the heart to lead, but also the humility to recognize that their power comes from God alone. The boldness with which Aries steps into their role as a leader is a direct reflection of God's own courage in leading His people. Aries is a number 2. God sees Aries as a brave warrior. The second way God sees Aries is as a brave warrior, someone who faces life's battles head-on with unwavering strength and determination. When we think of Aries, we often picture someone ready to charge into battle, armed with courage and determined to overcome any obstacle. But this bravery is not just physical. It's a spiritual bravery, one that reflects the divine courage that God gives to all of his warriors. One of the most powerful examples of divine courage in the Bible can be found in the story of David and Goliath. In 1 Samuel 17:45-47, David, a young shepherd, faces the giant warrior Goliath. David says, "You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I'll strike you down and cut off your head." David's confidence is rooted in his faith and trust in God. Just like David, Aries faces challenges not with fear, but with the knowledge that God is on their side. Aries are born warriors, and their bravery shines through not just in the big moments, but in their everyday lives. Whether it's standing up for what they believe in or taking risks to achieve their goals, Aries are unafraid to fight for their dreams. Their courage isn't always easy to understand. Sometimes it may seem like they rush headlong into danger or leap before they look. But just like David, they know that their strength comes from God, and that with his help, they can face any giant in their path. God sees Aries' bravery as something he has instilled in them from the start. It is not a fearlessness that ignores danger, but a courage that arises despite it. In the book of Psalms, God promises to be with us in our battles. Psalm 18:39 says, "You armed me with strength for battle. You humbled my adversaries before me." This verse speaks to the divine protection and strength that Aries carries with them as they face their own battles. Whether it's a personal struggle or a battle in the world, Aries can face it head-on with God's strength, just as David faced Goliath. But bravery doesn't mean invincibility. It means trusting God even when the odds seem impossible. Aries' bravery is not just about charging into the fray, it's about knowing that God is with them every step of the way. Like the warriors in the Bible, Aries must also learn to lean on God's strength, to trust his timing, and to allow him to fight their battles when they cannot. Aries' bravery is a reflection of the divine courage that God instills in those who are called to be warriors, not just in battle, but in life itself. Number 3, God sees Aries as a heart of fire. Aries is often described as passionate, fiery, and energetic, traits that are not just surface level, but deeply embedded in their nature. But when we think about how God sees Aries, there's a deeper layer to this fire. It's not just the spontaneous spark that can burn brightly for a short time, but a heart of fire that burns with purpose, determination, and a drive to make a difference. God sees Aries' passion as a divine gift, one that fuels their actions and gives them the courage to pursue their dreams. In the Bible, God's fire is often associated with purity, zeal, and a divine calling. One passage that highlights this is from Jeremiah 29. "But if I say, I will not mention his word or speak any more in his name, his word is in my heart like a fire shut up in my bones. I am weary of holding it in, indeed I cannot." This verse speaks to the kind of fire that God places in the hearts of those he calls. For Aries, this fire is not just a passing feeling, it is an all-consuming desire to fulfill a purpose greater than themselves. It's a passionate force that can drive them to go above and beyond, to push through the toughest challenges, and to keep moving forward, even when the world around them tells them to stop. This heart of fire isn't just about ambition or wanting to succeed. It's about a deeper yearning to do good in the world, to lead others by example, and to live out their true purpose. Aries may face times when their energy feels drained or when their fire seems to flicker, but God sees that fire as part of their divine calling, a gift that they carry within them. This fire doesn't burn recklessly, it burns with intention. It's a divine spark that is meant to shine and to ignite something greater. What God sees in Aries is not only a desire to achieve, but a deep-rooted passion for life itself, a desire to make a difference, to leave an impact on the world. This heart of fire is meant to inspire others, to awaken the spirits of those who might be feeling lost or stagnant, and to remind them of the power they have within. Aries may not always know how to control this intense passion, but God sees it as a force for good, one that can move mountains and spark real change. As we look at Aries through this lens, it's important to remember that passion without purpose can sometimes lead to frustration, especially when things don't go as planned. But God sees Aries' heart of fire as something meant to bring light to the world, a gift that can inspire and lead others when used for a greater cause. Just as Jesus' love for the world burned brightly, Aries' passion has the power to change the lives of those around them. Number 4, God sees Aries as a pioneer of change. Another way God sees Aries is as a pioneer of change, someone who isn't afraid to challenge the status quo and push the boundaries of what is possible. Aries are not followers, they are trailblazers, individuals who seek to make a difference by forging new paths, even if that means stepping into the unknown. God sees this willingness to break free from tradition as a reflection of His own desire for growth, transformation, and progress in the world. In the Bible, we can find several examples of individuals who were called to be pioneers of change. One of the most well-known figures is Abraham. In Genesis 12:1-2, God calls Abraham to leave everything he knows and venture into an unknown land. The Lord had said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing." God asks Abraham to leave behind the familiar and step into the unknown, trusting that God has a greater plan for him. This is the essence of Aries' pioneering spirit. They are willing to step into new territory, to trust in the path God has laid out for them, and to believe that change is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Aries embodies the courage to take risks, to break free from old systems, and to challenge the norm in pursuit of something better. This pioneering nature is a divine calling. Just as Abraham became the father of many nations, Aries is called to be a catalyst for change in their own way, whether that means in their personal lives, in their communities, or even on a global scale. Aries' willingness to take on the unknown is rooted in a trust that God will guide them, just as He guided Abraham. The journey may not always be easy, but Aries has the heart of a pioneer, always looking ahead, always striving for progress, and always willing to take the first step. This pioneering spirit is a divine trait that is often misunderstood. People may view Aries as reckless or impulsive, but in reality, their drive for change is a reflection of God's desire for transformation in the world. They have the courage to dream big, to act boldly, and to face challenges head-on. It's not about seeking fame or power. It's about bringing about meaningful change, about creating something new that will leave a lasting legacy. Aries' pioneering energy is contagious. When others see Aries step out in faith, they are often inspired to take their own steps toward change. Aries leads by example, showing others that it's possible to leave behind the old and step into the new, trusting that God will provide the guidance and strength needed to navigate the journey. Whether it's in their careers, relationships, or personal growth, Aries can change the world simply by being willing to take that first step into the unknown. Number 5, God sees Aries as a soul of integrity. One of the most profound ways God sees Aries is through their soul of integrity. Integrity is one of the foundational qualities that God values deeply in each of us. And for Aries, this trait is often expressed in their unwavering commitment to doing what's right, even when it's difficult. While the world may sometimes view Aries as impulsive or headstrong, God sees a person whose actions are guided by an inner compass that seeks truth and righteousness. The Bible speaks strongly about integrity, and one passage that comes to mind when reflecting on Aries is Proverbs 10:9. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out. Integrity isn't just about doing what's right when people are watching. It's about living a life of truth and honesty, even in the moments of solitude when no one else is looking. Aries, though often driven and energetic, is someone who doesn't shy away from doing the right thing, even if it means taking the more difficult road. God sees Aries' commitment to integrity as a powerful and divine trait. one that ensures they remain anchored to their higher calling, regardless of the challenges they may face. For Aries, their integrity often becomes their shield. In a world that can sometimes tempt people to take shortcuts or compromise on their values, Aries stands firm in their commitment to what is true and just. This inner strength is a reflection of God's truth, which shines brightly through their actions. Just as God called His people to be honest and walk in righteousness, Aries is divinely empowered to lead with integrity. Their decisions, though sometimes bold or controversial, come from a place of genuine truth. This unwavering commitment to integrity also makes Aries someone who is trusted by others. Even if their leadership style is unorthodox or their methods unconventional, people look to Aries because they know that, at the core, their actions align with a sense of right and wrong. When Aries speaks or acts, it's with authenticity, and this authenticity resonates with those around them. This quality is one that God honors deeply, as integrity is the foundation of all true leadership and influence. In the same way that Daniel in the Bible refused to compromise his faith, Aries remains resolute in their belief in truth, knowing that their integrity will guide them through even the most challenging situations. God doesn't just see Aries as a leader or warrior, they are also a beacon of honesty in a world that can sometimes feel filled with confusion and compromise. Aries may not always follow the crowd, but they remain firm in their commitment to doing what is right. This integrity shines through in all their endeavors, and it is this quality that makes them powerful agents of change. Number 6, God sees Aries as a relentless pursuer of purpose. Another divine perspective of Aries is that they are relentless pursuers of purpose. Aries, by nature, is driven. They are constantly in motion, always working toward something greater, always reaching for new heights. But what makes Aries truly special is not just their ambition, it's their relentless pursuit of purpose, something that transcends personal goals or material success. God sees Aries as someone who is continuously striving to fulfill a higher calling, someone whose energy and determination are directed toward a divine purpose. In the Bible, God frequently calls His people to pursue their purpose with fervor and without hesitation. One of the clearest examples of this relentless pursuit of purpose can be seen in the life of the Apostle Paul. In Philippians 3:13-14, Paul writes, "Brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it. But one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus." Paul's words perfectly encapsulate the relentless pursuit of purpose that defines Aries. He was never content to settle or be distracted by the past. He pressed forward, constantly striving to fulfill the mission that God had placed before him. Aries shares this same unyielding drive to pursue their calling, whatever that may be. Whether it's a personal passion, a career goal, or a divine mission, Aries cannot rest until they have achieved what they believe they were put on this earth to do. Their energy is not random. It's directed towards something far greater than themselves. Aries doesn't just want success. They want meaning. They want to know that their efforts have a lasting impact on the world around them. This relentless pursuit is not driven by pride, but by a deep inner knowledge that they have been created for a specific purpose. What makes Aries' pursuit of purpose so powerful is their ability to never give up. Even when faced with obstacles, Aries will continue to press forward. This drive is fueled by a deep sense of faith and trust in God's plan for them. While their journey may be full of challenges, Aries does not shrink back. They remain focused on the task at hand, knowing that God has a greater purpose for them. Their relentless pursuit of purpose mirrors the perseverance that God calls for in all of His children. In Hebrews 12:1-2, it says, "Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith." Aries takes this to heart. They fix their eyes on the goal and press forward, no matter the difficulty, because they know that their purpose is worth the effort. Aries may sometimes feel as though their purpose is elusive or that the journey is too difficult, but God sees their pursuit as a reflection of his divine will. Aries wasn't created to sit idly by. They were designed to make an impact, to lead, to create, and to inspire. Their relentless pursuit of purpose is not a burden, but a calling. It's a divine mission that fuels their every move. And even in the moments when the path is unclear, Aries continues to walk with faith. Number 7, God sees Aries as a source of strength for others. One of the most impactful ways God sees Aries is as a source of strength for others. Aries is often the one who steps up when no one else will, the person who faces adversity with unshakable courage and offers a helping hand to those who need it. But this isn't a strength that comes from sheer willpower alone. It's a divine strength, one that comes from God and allows Aries to serve as a beacon of hope and inspiration for those around them. This strength is not about being invincible, but about being able to rise again, no matter how many times life knocks them down. In the Bible, we see many examples of individuals who were called to be sources of strength for others, one of the most profound being the story of Ruth. In Ruth 1:16-17, Ruth demonstrates a selfless strength when she chooses to stay with her mother-in-law, Naomi, even when it meant leaving her own people behind. She says, "Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." This passage speaks to a strength that goes beyond the individual. It's a strength rooted in compassion and the desire to support and uplift others, no matter the cost. For Aries, this strength often manifests in their relationships. Whether it's with family, friends, or even strangers, Aries has an innate ability to offer strength and support when others need it most. Their confidence and unyielding determination inspire those around them to keep going, to push through their own challenges, and to stand tall in the face of adversity. God has given Aries this divine ability to uplift others, not through mere words, but through actions. But Aries' strength doesn't come without its struggles. There are times when they too feel weak or worn out, yet God sees them as resilient individuals who rise time and again when others might fall. Just like the Apostle Paul, who wrote in Philippians 4:16, "I can do all this through him who gives me strength." Aries' ability to persevere is powered by their trust in God. They don't do it alone. Their strength comes from the divine support that never falters. In many ways, Aries is a walking testimony of God's grace. They may face personal struggles, but through their perseverance, they encourage others to do the same. Aries might not always see themselves as a source of strength, but to those around them, they are a living example of God's power to overcome, rebuild, and move forward. The strength they offer to others isn't just physical or emotional, it's spiritual. Aries' divine strength is a reminder that God equips his people to be a source of hope and resilience, even when life feels uncertain. Number 8, God sees Aries as a heart open to growth. Another way, God sees Aries is through their heart open to growth. Aries are not perfect, and they certainly don't have all the answers. But what sets them apart is their willingness to learn, adapt, and evolve. God sees Aries as individuals who, despite their fiery nature and determination, remain humble enough to recognize that there's always room to grow. They are constantly striving for improvement, not just in their personal goals, but in their character and spiritual life. This openness to growth is a divine gift, one that reflects God's plan for continuous transformation and renewal. The Bible offers us many examples of individuals who embraced personal growth and transformation, and one such example is Peter. In Matthew 16:16, Peter declares, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." Yet, despite this declaration, Peter still struggled with doubt, fear, and impulsive actions. However, God used Peter's willingness to grow to shape him into one of the most influential apostles of the early church. In John 21:17, after Peter's denial of Christ, Jesus asks him 3 times, "Do you love me?" In this exchange, Jesus restores Peter and calls him to grow beyond his past mistakes. Peter's heart, although flawed, was always open to God's calling and to change. Aries shares this openness to growth. While their strong-willed nature can sometimes lead them to charge ahead without thinking, they also possess the humility to learn from their mistakes and refine their approach. They understand that growth doesn't happen overnight, and they are willing to put in the effort to change for the better. Whether it's a personal flaw, a career goal, or a spiritual challenge, Aries seeks growth with passion and persistence. God sees Aries' heart as one that is always willing to seek more, to learn more, and to evolve into the person He has called them to be. This desire for growth is often reflected in Aries' relationships and personal journeys. They don't settle for mediocrity. They strive for excellence in all they do, whether it's in their personal development, their career, or their spiritual life. Aries may not always have the patience for slow progress, but their relentless pursuit of self-improvement is a testament to their commitment to becoming the best version of themselves. In Philippians 3:12-14, Paul writes, "Not that I have already obtained all this, or have already arrived at my goal, but I press on to take hold of that for which Christ Jesus took hold of me." Just as Paul relentlessly pursued his calling, Aries continuously pursues personal growth, knowing that each step brings them closer to their divine purpose. God sees this openness to growth as one of Aries' most powerful qualities. It's a reflection of the spiritual journey we are all called to walk, a journey of transformation and renewal. Aries' willingness to change and evolve is not just a personal strength, it's a divine calling. By remaining open to growth, Aries allows God to shape them into the person they were meant to become. And in doing so, they become a living testament to God's grace and power to transform lives. Number 9, God sees Aries as a light of unstoppable hope. Aries is often seen as the embodiment of energy and enthusiasm, but God sees Aries as more than just a source of endless action. Aries is a light of unstoppable hope, someone whose optimism and determination shine through even in the darkest times. Their ability to stay hopeful, to push forward despite setbacks, and to remain positive when the world seems bleak is a divine gift that reflects the light of God within them. This hope isn't naive or blind. It's a deep-rooted faith that no matter the circumstances, God is always with them, guiding them through the storm. In the Bible, one of the clearest examples of a person who embodied this kind of unwavering hope is Job. Job's story is one of immense suffering, loss, and pain. Yet throughout his trials, he remains steadfast in his faith. In Job 13:15, he says, "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him. I will surely defend my ways to his face." Even when all seemed lost, Job's hope in God did not waver. This is the kind of hope that God sees in Aries. No matter what obstacles they face, whether personal challenges, setbacks in their careers, or struggles in their relationships, Aries never gives up. Their hope is unwavering, like the light of a flame that continues to burn brightly, no matter how harsh the winds blow. Aries, in their boldness and dynamic energy, is often the one who inspires hope in others. They refuse to let fear or doubt extinguish the fire within them. Instead, they become a beacon of hope for those around them, showing others what it means to trust God in the face of uncertainty. God sees Aries as someone who can light the way for others, reminding them that there is always hope, even in the hardest times. When Aries steps into a room, they bring with them an undeniable energy, one that makes others believe that anything is possible. This quality is not always easy to maintain, especially in a world that often feels full of discouragement and negativity. But Aries possesses an inner strength that allows them to keep their heads high and their spirits undaunted. This divine hope is not just about looking on the bright side, it's about trusting in God's plan, even when it's hard to see what that plan might be. Just as the Apostle Paul writes in Romans 15:13, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit." Aries embodies this hope, overflowing with it and spreading it to those around them. God sees Aries as a light that doesn't just shine for their own benefit, but for the benefit of others. Their hope becomes contagious, inspiring others to believe in God's goodness and grace. It's a reminder that even in the darkest moments, There is always a light shining somewhere, and for Aries, that light is within them. As Aries continues to face life's challenges with unwavering hope, they become a powerful example of God's presence in the world, someone who reflects His light and His hope in all they do. Number 10, God sees Aries as a defender of justice. Aries is not just a warrior in the physical sense. God sees them as a defender of justice, someone who will not tolerate injustice and who will fight to ensure that what is right prevails. This sense of justice is deeply ingrained in Aries' soul, and it's a divine calling that drives them to stand up for the marginalized, the oppressed, and those whose voices are not heard. Aries' bold and fearless nature makes them natural advocates for what is right, and God has placed this divine sense of justice within them to push them to act when others may remain silent. In the Bible, we see many instances where God calls His people to stand up for justice and righteousness. One of the most powerful examples comes from the story of Moses. In Exodus 3:7-8, God speaks to Moses from the burning bush and says, "I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them up out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey." God calls Moses to take action on behalf of the Israelites, to stand up against the injustice they are facing, and to lead them toward freedom. Aries shares the same divine call to fight for justice. They are not afraid to speak out against wrongs, to take action when they see injustice, and to challenge systems that perpetuate inequality, whether it's standing up for a friend, fighting for a cause, or speaking out against corruption. Aries is often the first to step forward, fueled by their deep sense of what is right and just. God sees Aries as someone who cannot turn a blind eye to injustice, someone whose heart is so deeply moved by the suffering of others that they are compelled to act. This sense of justice is not about seeking personal gain or glory. It's about serving God's will by fighting for fairness and equality. Aries doesn't shy away from difficult battles, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, because they believe that standing up for what is right is part of their divine mission. Just as God used Moses to deliver His people from slavery, He uses Aries to deliver those who are oppressed, to speak truth to power, and to ensure that justice is done. Aries' unwavering commitment to justice is a reflection of God's own righteousness. In Psalm 33:5 it says, "The Lord loves righteousness and justice. The earth is full of His unfailing love." Aries mirrors this divine love for justice, seeking to make the world a better, fairer place for everyone. Their boldness may sometimes come across as confrontational, but God sees it as the courage to stand for what is right, no matter the cost. Number 11. God sees Aries as a spirit of independence. Aries is often seen as the embodiment of independence. From an early age, they crave autonomy and resist being tied down by rules, traditions, or the expectations of others. They are driven by an inner desire to forge their own path, to carve out a space for themselves in the world, and to rely on their own strength and abilities to achieve their goals. This sense of independence is not just about rejecting authority or seeking freedom for its own sake. It is about a divine calling to stand firm in one's own identity, to trust in God's plan, and to walk the journey that He has laid out for them. In the Bible, God often calls individuals to step out in faith and live according to His will, regardless of the challenges they may face. One powerful example is Abraham. In Genesis 12:1-2, God commands Abraham to leave behind everything familiar. The Lord had said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing." Abraham's journey was one of independence, not in the sense of rebellion, but in the sense of trusting God so completely that he was willing to leave behind his home, his family, and everything he knew to pursue the path God had set before him. This sense of independence is mirrored in Aries. They are not content to simply follow the crowd or live according to society's standards. Instead, they forge their own path, often refusing to be confined by convention. God sees Aries as a spirit of independence, one who is not afraid to take bold steps and walk in faith, even when the road ahead is unclear. Aries' willingness to trust in God's guidance, even when it requires stepping into the unknown, reflects a deep trust in the divine plan. Aries' independence isn't a call to isolation or self-sufficiency. Rather, it is a divine strength that enables them to remain true to their purpose, even when others doubt or discourage them. God has uniquely gifted Aries with a resilience that allows them to thrive in situations where others might falter. This independence is what allows Aries to stand tall in the face of adversity and move forward with unwavering faith. Yet it is important to recognize that Aries' spirit of independence is also deeply intertwined with their ability to rely on God. It is not about rejecting help or guidance, but about understanding that true strength comes from God alone. In 2 Corinthians 12:9, Paul writes, "But he said to me, 'My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me.'" Aries' independence is not a rejection of God's help, but a recognition that with God, they can accomplish anything. It is this combination of self-reliance and divine trust that makes Aries' independence so powerful and transformative. Number 12. God sees Aries as a vessel of divine energy. The final way that God sees Aries is as a vessel of divine energy. Aries is a dynamic, energetic sign, full of life and vitality. They move through the world with an infectious enthusiasm, a spirit that never seems to tire or run out of steam. This boundless energy is not just a result of their natural temperament. It is a divine gift, a spiritual force that propels them forward and allows them to accomplish great things. God sees Aries as a vessel through which his power flows, a channel of divine energy that can be used to bring about transformation, inspire others, and accomplish his will on earth. In the Bible, we see that God often uses individuals as vessels for his divine power. One striking example is the story of Elijah, the prophet who was empowered by God to perform great miracles. In 1 Kings 18:36-37, when Elijah calls on God to show his power, he prays, "Answer me, Lord, answer me, so these people will know that you, Lord, are God, and that you are turning their hearts back again." God answers Elijah's prayer by sending fire from heaven to consume the offering, demonstrating his divine energy working through Elijah. This is a powerful example of how God uses his chosen vessels to accomplish his purposes in the world. Aries, like Elijah, is a vessel for divine energy. Their natural drive, ambition, and passion are all part of this energy, which can be harnessed for a higher purpose. Aries may not always recognize the full extent of this divine power working through them, but God sees the energy within them as a gift that is meant to be used to bring about change, to inspire others, and to further his kingdom. Aries has been given the strength and vitality to not only pursue their own goals, but to lift up others and help them realize their own potential. This divine energy is what drives Aries to keep moving, even when the road is difficult or when others have given up. It's a power that comes from God and flows through Aries as they carry out their purpose. In 1 Corinthians 6:19, Paul reminds us, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own." Aries, like all believers, is a temple for God's Spirit, and this divine energy is meant to be used to fulfill his will. God sees Aries as a living expression of his power and vitality, someone who is capable of achieving great things because they are empowered by his Spirit. Aries' energy isn't just for their own gain. It is a gift meant to be shared with the world. Whether it's through their leadership, their creativity, or their ability to inspire others, Aries carries within them the divine energy that can transform lives and move mountains. Just as the apostles were filled with the Holy Spirit to carry out their mission, Aries is filled with the divine energy that allows them to step out and accomplish the extraordinary. As we've explored together, there is so much more to Aries than just their fiery, energetic, and independent nature. When we view Aries through the eyes of God, we begin to see a deeper, more profound calling. From being a bold leader to a brave warrior, from possessing a heart of fire to pioneering change, God sees Aries as an individual created with a unique set of divine gifts meant to inspire, lead, and transform the world. Aries is not just driven by ambition, but by a higher purpose, a divine energy that fuels them to go further, do more, and be more than they ever thought possible. Through our journey today, we discovered how Aries is called to lead with courage, and how their spirit of bravery echoes that of biblical figures like Joshua and David, who stood strong in the face of adversity, believing that God's strength would carry them through. We saw how Aries is a heart of fire, burning with passion and purpose, just like Jeremiah, whose words were like fire shut up in his bones. Aries' pioneering spirit, similar to that of Abraham, reflects their courage to step into the unknown, knowing that God's guidance will be with them every step of the way. We also delved into the importance of Aries' integrity and how their unwavering commitment to doing what is right aligns with God's call for honesty and righteousness, much like Daniel, who stood firm in his faith despite the pressures of his society. We saw how Aries is not afraid to fight for justice, stepping forward like Moses did to challenge systems that oppress and hurt others, believing that God's power will always triumph over evil. Beyond their powerful leadership, we discussed Aries as a vessel of divine energy, a force through which God's power flows, helping them to accomplish great things and inspire others. We also touched on Aries' spirit of independence, how they are called to trust God's plan, stepping out into the unknown, knowing they will always have His strength to rely on. In all of these qualities, we see that Aries is more than just a sign of the Zodiac. They are vessels of divine strength, living proof that God's grace and power are active in the world. Aries' journey is not about self-centered ambition, but about a calling to transform the world, to bring hope, light, and justice wherever they go. They are leaders, warriors, pioneers, and sources of strength. And now, we want to hear from you. How do you see Aries through God's eyes? Do you agree with the divine qualities we've discussed? Or do you have additional insights on how Aries is called to impact the world? Comment below and share your thoughts with us. Your perspective is invaluable, and we love hearing from you. Don't forget to subscribe to Secret of the Zodiac so you can continue to explore the unique ways each zodiac sign aligns with divine purposes and understand how the stars and planets are woven into God's design for us. By subscribing, you'll be the first to know when we release new content, helping you to deepen your understanding of the zodiac and your own spiritual journey. Also, if you found this video helpful or inspiring, please give us a like. Your support makes a big difference, not just in encouraging us, but in allowing us to reach more people with these valuable insights into the zodiac and God's design. And we need your support now more than ever. If you feel led to contribute and want to help us bring more daily content to our channel, we would be incredibly grateful if you would consider using the Super Thanks feature. By donating through Super Thanks, you help us cover the costs of creating more quality videos, and your generosity ensures that we can keep sharing these amazing insights with the world. Every donation, big or small, is a huge blessing to our team and allows us to continue providing free and daily content that helps everyone connect more deeply with their spiritual journey and the universe around them. We understand that times can be tough, but even a small contribution can make a world of difference. If you enjoy what we're doing, please consider helping us out so we can keep growing the channel and bringing you the best possible content. We couldn't do it without you, and your help will truly make a lasting impact. So remember to subscribe, like, and comment below. And if you're able, don't forget to help us with a Super Thanks. It's a simple way to show your support and help us continue to create meaningful content. Thank you for being part of this journey with us. We're excited to continue exploring the Zodiac and God's divine designs with you, so stay tuned for even more videos coming your way. Thank you again for your incredible support. Together we can continue to bring this important message to a wider audience and help everyone understand their unique spiritual purpose. one zodiac sign at a time. We look forward to hearing from you in the comments and growing together as a community. Keep shining your light, Aries.